Hey listeners, it's Tim. You'll notice poor audio quality during this episode as we had a mic issue during recording. The episodes before this sounded great, and the ones after will too. Thanks for your understanding and enjoy.
Hey, I'm Noah.
Hey, I'm Tim.
And this is our ongoing comic strip style AP of Dogs in the Vineyard. Episode 4 featuring Brother Terrence Witt.
Alright, so I am continuing the GM, which means Noah's in the player seat. And we're picking up right where we left off.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it. Standing at the door is the young doctor, Brother Callum, who just announced himself as the father of this newborn you're holding. Beside you, the mother, Sister Joyette, has asked you for the blessing of taking a second husband, much like how her husband, Brother Moroni, has taken 3 wives here in his home. The elderly Moroni is upstairs resting with the other wives. So here in the sitting room, it's just you, the newborn, the mother, and the father. The rain starts battering the shutters, something fierce, and even the sputtering fire won't take this chill out of your bones. Here in Chimney Rock, you're in for more than just a baby namin.
So I come from a family of dogs. My father's a dog. My grandfather was a dog. So they're pretty well respected in the community from that. So I think my father probably has 2 wives. Maybe all 6 kids are from the first wife, and the second wife's new. Yeah, maybe he took his second wife when I was like 8. Now that I'm more an adult, quotations, because I'm probably 17 or so, maybe I do think it's a little weird. So I'm holding the baby, and maybe I'm a little unsure what to do with the baby at this point.
Sister Joyette, so she's standing next to you, and you see her protectively close to you, close to the baby. A bit shocked that Callum announced himself as such, and Callum is probably nervously walking in.
I would stand up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can get back the baby right now. Callum? Brother Callum? You're the father of this here child?
Well, even though I'm educated from the institutions of higher learning, yes, I am also a brother. A pleasure to meet you. And he's holding out a hand kind of at the baby toward you.
Okay. So you say you're a brother, and yet when I look at the baby.
And he's retracting his hand while you talk.
Right. And I'm not shaking his hand. I go, you claim to be a brother, and yet you know that this child here that I'm holding, your child, is made from sin.
He's staring at you shakily, so the doctor's bag clasp on that is jingling back and forward as his hand shakes holding that. Well, in studying text, I found that there's many ways to examine a perspective. There's author bias, for example, and even in the Book of Life. And the one true constant is the king who speaks to even my beloved, not wife, And
I just look between them. One of my traits is quicker than I look, and that also implies that I do not react quickly. And I think I've become aware at this moment that I am still holding the baby, and that it is a bargaining chip at this point.
When you look back up, Callum's eyes are still looking at you
Okay.
a bit wider, and he says, and I can tell you're a rational man, so I'm not here to change your mind.
Well, I'm sure you're not that. Tell me, Brother Callum, what is your relationship with Brother Moroni?
He is the branch steward. He's a mighty strong man. He's like a strong oak, anchors the town.
I see. Well, maybe we should get that strong oak down here.
Well.
Brother Moroni!
His shoulders slump, and he realizes that you have the power in this situation.
Yeah.
And as you turn upstairs to yell, you feel Joyette pull on your sleeve. She just looks at you with pleading eyes, and she says, before anything else happens, dear brother, just tell me, what do you intend to do with the baby?
Well, ma'am, I have no intentions as of this moment, but Brother Moroni is the steward of this town, and this is his family, and so this is a matter for him.
So you hear rustling footsteps upstairs.
I walk past her and I say, surely, sister, you realize that all actions have consequences. And then I walk towards the door.
The front door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case little brother Callum here decides that he needs to leave the situation, that's not happening.
Brother Callum takes a step closer to Joyette and puts his arm around her shoulder affectionately. Affection that you would only see in a bedroom. As the father of this child, I can only hope that I will have some role in its upbringing. I do. And you hear a click. Both of their heads dart up the stairwell.
Has his mind.
Yeah. By the way, did you walk to the door with the baby?
Yeah, I had a baby.
You had the baby, just making sure.
And also I hung my coat up by the door and probably left my rifle right by the door.
Sister Joyette calls out, Sister Amity, what? And you see a woman standing at the top of the stairwell, and she's wearing a pink, poofy, frilly dress, and her hair is in a magnificently huge bun. Her face is steel resolved, and she's holding a revolver pointed at the couple. And in a low, hushed voice, she says, "Ain't no one gonna tear apart this family." And she pulls the trigger.
Okay, well, let's just set some stakes. What's at stake is, will I stop Brother Callum from getting shot?
All right.
As soon as I hear that click, I'm still holding the baby, but I've left my, as they say, sword arm free, and I reach down my boot and I throw this knife right at her arm.
The long, sharp blade grazes her wrist, and a gash of red starts spilling onto her frilled cuff. Standing behind Brother Callum, that bullet lets loose.
I see her going to shoot, and I go and reach for my gun, and it's by my cloak right by the door. And as I grab my gun, bullet hits the wall right next to me, right through my cloak. And there's kind of a red splatter on it. And I just drop to one knee, and I set my rifle on my knee. I clutch this baby real tight as I kind of shoot from the hip.
You just see Sister Amity's legs up in the air as her dress flows over her body and ripples, and she falls back behind the balcony, and it's quiet. Joyette screams, and she pushes aside Brother Callum, and Joyette's running up the stairs, and you hear her screaming, "You done killed her! You done killed her!" Then you hear Sister Amity coughing, and it's a gurgling cough. It's like you hear bubbles. And at that point, Brother Moroni has creeped through the door that Sister Amity had come from. "What all's gone on down here?"
The baby's crying as well. I mean, I just shot a rifle next to its head. And I'm kind of in a stupor a little bit. And maybe I go to hand Callum the baby.
Yeah.
And maybe that's when I notice that something's not right with him either.
And as he holds out his arm, you see his bicep is like a red armband in his white, crisp shirt. He still grabs for the baby, though. He sees it, and he looks right past it. He's a doctor. He's seen blood before.
Brother Callum, you're bleeding on the baby. I called the doctor, but I presume you are the doctor. And maybe attend to the sister I shot over there.
Put the baby by the fire, somewhere warm, somewhere safe. I do have something to tend to. And he gets on one knee and starts opening up his bag. "Sister Amity, call out if you can hear my voice." And you just hear a... And Brother Moroni is just praying. You hear him praying loud. And you're left downstairs with this baby who's still crying. So a couple days have passed. Sister Amity lives. She'll never be the same, but she lives. The Moroni household is patching up all those leaks in the roof from that rainstorm. So it's a dry day, and Brother Callum is on the end of a rope, a long rope tied to the horse, and he's being led out of town.
I've never kicked a man out of town. I also never shot a woman. Heck, I've never shot a man. So it's been a hard couple days. But Moroni didn't find nothing wrong with my judgment, and he knows I wasn't trying to kill his wife. You know, Brother Callum should have known what he was doing. He says he's part of the faith. Well, it's not part of the faith anymore. The steward made the call. I'm here to enforce it, and I'm going to take Brother Callum out of town. What he does with his life after that, well, that's up to him.
So a cold wind kicks up some dust. The ground finally had time to dry. So looking out at the barren landscape, gray, dried earth with cracks in the earth that look like they go down deep. Callum doesn't have his doctor's bag or any fancy books or writing materials. All that was left behind when he was exiled. And so looking around, he realizes there's nothing familiar. He looks up to you. He's been oddly silent. You haven't heard this man be quiet for this long. Well, what now?
Well, Callum, you really got yourself in a pickle here. And I stride up to him with my knife out.
He takes a step back and trips over the rope, tangled up in his feet, and he's on his back, and he's scrambling backwards with his hands. He looks like a wild, scared animal.
Sure, and I just go up to him and I cut his bindings free. The way I figure it, your best chance is to head east, back where you came from. Try to find a railroad track. You follow that. You just keep following it east. It's going to be a couple hard days, but if you're smart, you'll make it. And I think I throw my blanket, and I think I'll give him my knife too, actually.
He catches it awkwardly with both hands, like he's not handled one of these before. To think our people went west to escape religious persecution, well, back east with me then.
And I get on my horse, and I look back at him and I say, you know what I named that baby?
What is that?
I named him Callum. And I ride off.
What do you call the measuring thing on a gun? Grab my lack of gun knowledge. There's a little measuring bit where you...
Like a scope?
No.
I don't think revolvers have them.
You're
talking about the
little nubbin
arm piece?
No, there's like the little nubbin on the end that you would kind of like...
Yeah, you'd cock it.
Like on the end of the barrel, there's a little nubbin and you would center it.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, this is Jason from the Gauntlet Gaming Community. If you enjoyed this episode of Comic Strip AP, please consider supporting the Gauntlet on Patreon. Our page can be found at patreon.com/gauntlet.